Hey there, if you've ever found yourself tumbling down a late night rabbit hole of online marketplaces hunting for that one perfect digital tool, you already know the ecosystem out there is massive. It's sprawling, highly optimized, and honestly incredibly complex. Well, in this explainer, we are going to dissect the anatomy of one very specific digital storefront, Elvanto Digital. Think of this as our macro to micro tour. We're going to map out the underlying economic mechanics of how a modern digital storefront actually operates, check out the sheer, infinitely scalable scale of what they offer, and then we're going to zoom all the way in on one specific, highly trafficked product. We really want to see exactly how digital value is packaged, priced, and presented to consumers who are just hungry for optimization. Okay, let's dive into this. Honestly, is your digital workspace in total chaos right now? Because let's face it, our modern obsession with absolute productivity has birthed a massive secondary market. We live in this professional landscape where output is absolutely everything, right? And that universal drive to just get our workflows optimized and our lives sorted has created this insatiable demand for ready-made digital systems. Platforms built entirely around digital assets thrive on this exact premise. You see, they aren't just selling files. They're actually monetizing our collective desire to conquer digital clutter. It's this intense market demand that literally fuels these digital ecosystems, turning the abstract idea of getting organized into highly lucrative, easily packaged commodities. And that brings us to Elvanto Digital itself. You can think of this as a massive, worldwide marketplace operating on a fundamental economic principle that traditional physical retail simply cannot touch: zero marginal cost. When a platform is dealing entirely in digital goods, there are no manufacturing delays, there are no supply chain bottlenecks, and there are absolutely no inventory limits. I mean, think about it. Creating the second copy of a file costs exactly the same as creating the 2 millionth copy. Nothing. Zero. This fundamentally changes the whole game for how a storefront operates. Without the constraints of physical inventory, the scale of what they can offer grows exponentially. It allows them to boast a global reach and continuous 24/7 support without any of the headache or overhead of physical logistics. Just look at the sheer variety of digital assets they're pushing here. They offer Canva templates to instantly elevate your graphic design, reel bundles to completely automate your social media feeds, mock-ups for professional presentations, private label rights products, print-on-demand designs, and massive logo bundles. The strategy behind casting this incredibly wide net is brilliant. The storefront is intentionally trying to capture every single stage of the modern creator's journey. Whether you're in the initial branding phase and need a logo, the marketing phase needing those reel bundles, or the operational phase requiring back-end systems, they have a digital asset waiting for you. But for our analysis today, we're going to focus our microscope on just one absolutely critical operational category: the Notion templates. So we're zooming in from the broad storefront to focus on one very specific, highly watched product page, the Notion Templates Bundle Ultimate Pack. And this is wild. According to the storefront's live data, at any given moment, there are multiple people actively watching this exact product page simultaneously. This is such a fascinating use of social proof in e-commerce. By displaying live viewer data, the storefront creates this distinct sense of urgency and perceived scarcity for a digital product that, by definition, can never actually run out of stock. It's a prime example of how these psychological triggers are coded directly into the interface to create immediate perceived value for the buyer. The marketing copy for this bundle absolutely does not pull any punches. It boldly states, "Transform the way you work and manage your daily tasks with the Notion Templates Bundle Ultimate Pack. Your all-in-one solution for a more structured and productive life." Now, this is a veritable masterclass in digital copywriting. Notice the highly aspirational language they use here. The storefront isn't just selling you a database template. They're selling you a completely new identity. They're utilizing specific keywords like structured and productive to sell you the dream of the fully optimized professional. You aren't buying software. You are buying the feeling of having your professional and personal life entirely under control. And this brilliantly illustrates the impressively wide net the specific product is casting. Notice the juxtaposition they're going for, targeting students and freelancers on one side and entrepreneurs and content creators on the other. Now, it is incredibly rare for a single product to legitimately appeal to such wildly different demographics. Students managing study schedules have vastly different operational needs than content creators managing complex media pipelines or entrepreneurs tracking business finances, right? Yet, by designing a bundle that is this comprehensive, the storefront effectively bypasses demographic boundaries. They make the product relevant to almost anyone sitting behind a keyboard trying to maximize their daily output. So the crucial point is how they actually bridge that massive demographic gap. And really, it comes down to sheer volume. Over 100 professionally crafted templates are included in this single bundle. Think about the psychological weight of the number 100. It completely transforms the purchase in your mind from a mere tool into a comprehensive, expansive library. It justifies the purchase by promising to save you hundreds of hours of painstaking setup time. When a bundle crosses that triple-digit threshold, the perceived value just skyrockets. Because suddenly you're no longer evaluating individual templates. You're evaluating the overwhelming volume of the entire collection. To see how these assets actually connect in the real world, let's walk through a practical workflow. Imagine starting your morning in the Project Planning Hub to review the day's deliverables. Then, you seamlessly shift over to the Budgeting template to track incoming client payments, utilize the goal tracking modules to measure your quarterly progress, and finally end your day by logging entries in the Journaling template for personal wellness. This specific bundling strategy takes completely abstract digital files and makes them feel incredibly tangible and real. Furthermore, the source material heavily emphasizes that these layouts are highly aesthetic and fully customizable, ensuring that optimizing your workflow actually feels like a premium experience rather than just another chore. Okay, now we transition into what is undoubtedly the most fascinating part of this entire e-commerce anatomy, the pricing mechanics and the, let's say, quirky storefront architecture. We've established the immense perceived value of the product, but how is it financially structured? As we dig into the actual user interface of this storefront, we're going to treat it like a digital archaeological dig. Because, as we're about to see, when you take the rigid logic of physical retail architecture and aggressively apply it to weightless, instantly downloadable digital goods, well, the cracks in the system start to show in some truly hilarious ways. First up, the storefront utilizes a highly effective tactic rooted deeply in digital marketing psychology: price anchoring. Right at the top of the product page, there is a prominent badge declaring a massive 60% discount. By displaying this huge markdown, the seller isn't just dropping the price, they are firmly establishing what the product is supposedly worth. It anchors your expectation at a much higher price point, making the discounted rate feel like an absolute steal. And again, because of that zero marginal cost we discussed earlier, sellers can afford to offer these incredibly aggressive discounts to instantly trigger a purchase without eating into manufacturing margins. And that 60% discount brings us to the final, fascinating number, $2. The original price of this 100-template bundle was already an incredibly low $5, but with the current price drop, it sits at just $2. At this specific price point, almost all consumer friction is completely removed. It transitions the product away from being a highly considered purchase and turns it into a pure impulse buy. The barrier to entry is so incredibly low that buyers are likely to purchase it simply out of sheer curiosity, just to see what 100 professionally designed templates actually look like. It's a volume game, pure and simple. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible, almost surreal contradiction happening at checkout. The core feature of this product, listed proudly in its description, is instant digital download with lifetime access. You buy it, you download it immediately, right? Yet the storefront's delivery options inexplicably offer free pickup from the Woodmart store or DHL courier delivery in 2 to 3 days. It poses this fantastic, highly comedic mental image of a DHL driver frantically rushing a USB drive to your doorstep just to deliver a hyperlink to a Notion workspace. It's just this bizarre, hilarious collision of physical logistics and digital reality. And this comedy of errors doesn't stop at the shipping options. The reason we see this is actually pretty simple. Many of these digital storefronts are rapidly built on top of rigid legacy e-commerce platforms, like Shopify or WooCommerce templates that were originally designed strictly for physical goods. When those templates aren't fully scrubbed by the developer, you get these hilarious digital artifacts. For example, they are offering a 1-year warranty on a digital file. They advertise free 30-day returns on a product you gain instant, irreversible access to upon purchase. And inexplicably, there is a banner offering an Apple shopping event discount on Apple devices completely haphazardly applied to this $2 Notion template. It's a fascinating, unpolished look into the realities of rapid digital storefront management. Quirks and unscrubbed e-commerce oddities aside, the core economic offering here remains incredibly striking. We've mapped out the expansive ecosystem, the targeted identity-based marketing, the psychological weight of offering over 100 templates, and the totally frictionless impulse buy pricing. Which leaves us with this final thought for the explainer. When the barrier to entry is literally just $2 and the promised return is a perfectly organized, highly streamlined professional life, is this digital bundle the actual missing link to your productivity? Or is it just another beautifully packaged